I command you to make more money and stop losing sales in your MSP. That, that's the command. And that's what I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you in this video how you can generate more revenue in your MSP and stop losing deals. And it comes down to something very simple, or four very simple things. And they're technical in nature, which is even better for us MSPs that excel at technical work that maybe are not so great on the sales side of things. So I'm going to go into those four things in this video, simple tips that you can implement today. First, a little story for you on my sales upbringing in the MSP world. I started my sales journey in 2011 for an MSP at the time. And I was told when I went from a technical role into sales, and when I started there, I was like, okay, cool. This is going to be so amazing, putting on a suit and having to speak to people and close deals. I can't wait. I was actually scared shitless. I was told that I needed to start using a CRM, and it was a CRM. It was like baptism by fire, because this CRM, it was Dynamics 365 of all CRMs. And I was told that I had to log all my sales activity in that CRM. About 3 weeks into doing that, kind of stopped doing it because no one was like looking at all the activities I was putting in there. And I didn't really know what I was supposed to be recording in there either. And then we just defaulted to a weekly sales meeting. And we had that where we would chat about what the sales opportunities were and the activities and all that good stuff. It wasn't until I pivoted my own MSP in 2016, IT Rockstars, from an MSP to helping MSPs market their business, where I realized that actually I really need a CRM. And it wasn't just from a marketing perspective and being able to send out email marketing newsletters and all that stuff, but it was actually to manage my sales pipeline. I get between 20 and 30 leads every single month into my business. And that's quite a volume. And to manage that volume, there's a sales process that has to happen. Now, how does this relate to your MSP? You might not be getting 20 or 30 leads every month. You might actually maybe only get 2 or 3 leads a month, or maybe even less than that. It's even more important is because you're getting much fewer leads. So the ones that are actually coming in are like more important than the 30 that I'm getting. The fact is, it's even more important in your business that you have a sales pipeline, a managed sales pipeline that's managed in a CRM. So that's what I'm going to show you in this video, is like how to set up the management of it, but some really crucial tips that will help you stay on top of those crucial leads that are coming into your business. So tip one, something that happens to me, I go and have a really nice 1 hour meeting or 2 hour meetings or multiple meetings with prospects. I quote them work, and then guess what happens at the end of that process? They don't buy from me, or even worse, they ghost me. This fixes that to some extent, what I'm going to show you here, okay? So tip one is have a pipeline in your CRM for your sales process. Now I'm going to show you on the screen here a recommended sales process. Everyone's sales process, I think, is actually going to be different. So let's get into the screen. Okay, so I actually use 2 CRMs at the moment. I'm using High Level and Active Campaign. That's a story for a different day. But all CRMs have opportunities or a pipelines or a deal section within them. I've used Pipedrive as well. This is where you have your sales process set up. So there's stages in here. It's like, is that a Kanban board? I think that's the correct terminology. So I've set up this demo one for you guys. My pipelines look different for IT Rockstars. So the first stage here, this first column is prospecting. The second column is where we're qualifying. Third is proposals, and then we're getting to closes. Very simple sales process. As I mentioned, there's cool sales processes out there. I'm just going to give you the basics of why you need to have this in your CRM. So under there, under these stages, we've got our opportunities, our terminology, sometimes known as deals, a couple of test deals in here as well. When we move a prospect from one stage to the next, we basically just drag them across. And that allows us to see our actual sales pipeline. So just like having the visibility of the pipeline is like really important. Certainly when I did MSP sales, I had absolutely zero visibility. It was all up here and I was maybe discussing it in weekly meetings. That was it. It wasn't laid out like this. So having this in place, getting into the rhythm of doing this So the reason this is important is so that you have a visualization of your actual sales pipeline. Not all of us are built the same. And certainly when I was doing MSP sales, just having it up in my head, it didn't give me any clear structure in the day. Being able to actually go in and spend 20 minutes on this every single day and putting my mind's focus on a pipeline can really help a lot because you can actually move the pipeline forward. You're doing it in this tool. You're not just doing it from your head or from a list on a piece of paper. So that's the crucial element to this. The other one is from visibility, and I'm going to get into this in a little bit more, is like where are things actually potentially falling off? So we're getting to this closing stage, but we're potentially not closing. We'll be able to see where these things are falling off and why they're not closing. We're going to be able to see as this pipeline fills up where the bottlenecks are within the sales process. And it's going to allow us to understand what we need to fix in our business. You may have an idea of what it is, but this is going to make it obvious for you. Certainly when MSPs come to me, they're looking for more leads. And sometimes that's not actually the issue. It's another piece within this process that's the issue. It could be the closing, could be the proposal stage. So it just gives you that visibility. So task here is, what I would suggest you do is you would maybe go into your calendar, go back the last year. If you don't already have this, go into your calendar. I'm going to assume that you've had sales meetings in your calendar over the last year. Put them in here. What stage did they get to? Okay. Even if it's still in closing, put them in there. This is going to help you just get a little idea of where we are with things. And I guess the important piece for this is it's fairly easy to set up the stages and the pipeline. It's literally going to take you 2 minutes to do that. And then there's going to be some data entry. The important piece here is actually going to it every day and just spending 5 to 20 minutes focusing on this. So putting aside the time to actually doing this. So this brings us on to tip 2. And this is actually the main reason for having the pipeline, okay? It is the tasks within the pipeline. So at the moment, you can see the deals or the opportunities, they're called. But if we click on an actual opportunity in here, all CRMs have this. They have a task associated with it. All opportunities in your sales pipeline should have a task associated with them. And that basically means that the prospect in the pipeline, there's always a follow-on task. There's always something to do at a certain date. I'm sure you've heard the term book a meeting from a meeting. So that is when you're in a sales meeting or a qualification meeting, or if you're on the phone, you always set the next task, the schedule, and book the meeting. That's what you do in here. You book the meeting from the meeting. It might not potentially be a meeting. So it could be a phone call. So you could be going through the qualification piece and they've maybe said, hey, Scott, we're quite happy with our MSP. We're not really looking to switch. And obviously we're not going to take no for an answer. So we're going to go, well, that's cool. If you were willing to switch at some time in the future, when does your contract expire? What date is that? And then we're going to scribble down the date and we're going to put a task associated with that prospect with the date in the diary. So 3 months prior to the renewal of the contract with their incumbent MSP, we're going to put the task in there so that we have it as a task that we can do. And it's not just in our head. And then there's the other scenario where we've maybe called a prospect. We are literally doing the prospecting here. There may be one of our top 150 hot list of people we'd love to work with. And they've been receiving our marketing for some time. And we think, okay, finally got the courage to actually call them because I know that they're interacting with our marketing. I'm going to give them a call. So you give them a call, you've worked up the courage, and we've got Mohammed's here. And guess what? He's not answering his phone. What do? You put in a task when you're going to call him again. And you do that with every single prospect. So even if it's a follow-up, so it's a call, I'm going to follow up with you in 3 months' time, see where you are with your current MSP or when the contract renews, there's always a task associated with the prospect. Again, we could be in the closing stage. We could be at that point that I mentioned earlier on where they're ghosting us. We've quoted the work and now we're not hearing anything. We're going to put in a follow-up task. We're going to follow up on a continual basis and we're going to put a task in against the task. When you get this in the diary, this is the cool bit with it, okay? And especially if you have a team. So if it's not just you doing the sales, so under this one in high level, for some reason it's under here, under contact, we have got a list of all the tasks. You can list these tasks by completed. You can list them by what ones are happening this week or what ones happened last week. So if you're meeting with your team and you maybe got sales guys, you can see all of the activities they did last week, all of the ones that they've got to do this week, and it's all here in the CRM. So it gives you a clear view and it gives you a checklist. And it's just going to make things easier, like a checklist in your business of what you've got to do for the day. This is your checklist here. And then you just literally tick it off and mark it as complete. But remember, as soon as you mark that task is complete, that contact must have another task associated with it. Put on them again. That's the crucial bit to this. I can't stress this enough. If you've called them, set a task. What's the next task? You're getting the sales meeting. Great. You're having to call them again. You're going to have to follow up with them. You should always have a task associated with the contact. Okay, so tip 3, and this is where we're getting to the marketing stuff, the stuff that I like, and but it helps the sales process piece here. And that's actually one of the main reasons that you market your business. It's got actually nothing to do with getting leads. The whole point of the marketing is to help the sales process. It's to make the sales process easier. So how can we do that through marketing and through our CRM? Each one of these stages that we've built in our pipeline, there can be a nurture sequence, an email automation that falls off the back of whatever stage we're in. To give you an example of this, we've got our stage where we're just prospecting. General awareness. We want to make those prospects aware of our business and what it is that we do. So we're maybe sending out regular tips. We want to introduce an email nurture sequence where they're getting regular tips, sending out regular tips about what your business does. So that would be one email automation. It would potentially fall under your weekly or monthly email newsletters that you're doing. The second piece is on the qualification. What would an email sequence look like when it came to the qualification? So you'd maybe actually want to ask the questions up front in your marketing. So asking questions like, what are suggesting why an MSP is important, the size of business that's important. So like one of the qualification questions is, how many users is in your organization? From an email automation perspective and nurturing, stay with me here, you're maybe putting it out there. This is a really good reason why you maybe want to choose us as an MSP, because we work really well with this particular size of business. It helps filter out people that are and aren't in our market. Then there's like the closing stage. We would want an email automation to fall off the back of that. So when you move the prospect from the proposal to the closing, we'd maybe want to start to send them a little sequence of videos about how they are going to feel once they switch to us as an MSP provider. We guess it'd be painting the future or painting that vision in their head, but we'd be doing that through an email automation. And we would be actually like painting that great picture of what the future looks like when they're going to be working with us. So they're going to get like this nurture sequence that's going to help ease this sales process. You see where I'm getting at here with this? These nurture points can happen after the fact. The ghosting, for example, we can continue to nurture. So you might even have a sequence where you're resurrecting those ghosts. Fourth tip, deliverability. So you're going to be nurturing these prospects. You're going to have this really cool CRM that's going to do all of this for you. And one of the crucial things that you need to understand is that deliverability matters more than ever today, because we've got so many cold emails that are coming to us on a daily basis, and the spam systems and the quarantines and all that good stuff, they're becoming more and more protective, secure. And because of that, our emails start landing in the spam. So you as an MSP, I'm going to assume that you have SPF set up. I'm going to assume you've got DMARC, DKIM. I'm hoping that you do, okay? If you don't, go and use a tool like Easy DMARC. There's a link down below. You can get a discount on that. But making sure the technical piece is set up correctly. Also keeping the deliverability score in your CRM good as well. And what happens in the larger platforms, all these big CRMs, is they will give you a score in regards to how warm your list is. Say you've got 10,000 contacts in your CRM and you're emailing them every week about your IT services, but 90% of those contacts is going to spam or it's just going unread, they're ignoring it. Keeping an eye on who is actually opening your emails and interacting with them is important. And having an automation in place where you're basically cleaning out cold contacts from the CRM. You can do this automatically. So if a contact hasn't opened an email from you in 90 days, do they actually still need to be in your CRM? So if you keep a warm list of contacts, an engaged list, your deliverability score goes up. If you have a vast array of contacts that you're just bombarding with stuff, your deliverability goes down. You're far more likely to hit that spam box. Whereas if you have an engaged warm list, you're far more likely to get into the inbox. The fifth tip, the final one, this is great for recycling leads. So once you start to build up a pipeline, your contacts will start to grow, but you can apply what's known as a lead scoring on your contacts. Now, I've done a full video on this. It's on my channel somewhere. Do a search for it. But basically applying a score to each contact in your CRM, it's an automation that can happen. So you can set a score of, say, for example, 10 points to this contact. They click the link in your email. You can set a 10 points if they visit your contact page or your Calendly page. We can set up a lead score so you can see who is interacting not only like on your website and your emails, but who's actually interacting with those nurture sequences that we mentioned before. So you can start to build up a picture of who's a really warm lead in your CRM. And they should be focused in on, because the warmer they are, the more likely they are going to be like buyers. Anyway, that's the video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I am about transforming the way the MSPs grow their business. And the latest way that we're doing that is through MSP Guru. We'd love it if you go and check that out. It's brand new actually at the time of recording this video. And I'll catch you guys and girls later. Bye.